Hey, Super Squee here of the Emotionally Unstable Gamer channel on YouTube. Jumping right back into this one. Okay, so I've seen everything but the most recent season of Criminal Minds. It it bounces back and forth in quality, but I feel like ultimately it's a really enjoyable show. But it is also one of those things I cannot recommend you to start from the beginning unless you just have a lot of time and you really love like forensic science, like fucking police, whatever the fucking term is, the police procedural fucking shows. I like the cast. I feel like they do give enough time for majority of the characters, at least the original cast, to form and become their own people. I feel like they all get like their own episodes at some point to expand on like who they are as a character. And I think they do an incredible job with this show. Like, ultimately, I really do, to make it, like, compelling and to make you want to actually watch it. And I'm very excited to finish the season that I'm on, or seasons at this point, if there are more. But I stopped at 12, because that's all that was on Netflix at the time. And I felt like I didn't know what to do with my life afterwards. So, I did not watch the Thor movies in order because some of the things on this list, I went and saw this in theaters and I just hadn't gotten around to watching Thor 1 or 2. Like, I had seen them before I saw this one, I just didn't do it in order for the list. So, when I eventually got back to Thor 1, I was like, okay, I enjoyed that movie. It was better than I remembered. Kind of bland, but better than I remembered. And then I watched Thor 2, and like, I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is, but I feel like it's got some pacing issues and it could be more exciting. But holy shit, Thor Ragnarok was like, they took pieces that like made Guardians of the Galaxy so fun, mixed it with like the Thor mythos, and like schmooshed it all together, and I love this movie. And what the fuck, I feel like I always pronounce the director of this movie's name wrong. It's like Taikiti Tawati or something like that. I'm really sorry, sir. I love him. He plays a character in this, and I feel like he does like a great job like doing what he does, and I'm excited to see the things that he makes. And I keep seeing other things that he has made, and they are also awesome. So I'm just like, dude, I don't know you, but I love you, and please keep doing that. So if you want some like crazy action fucking like space movie with really pretty visuals and stuff, and you only know a little bit about the Marvel universe, like, this is totally worth watching. Like, even if you know nothing else, even if you don't watch any of the other Marvel movies, I feel like this is worth watching. It is just a really fun time, and I feel like you can just have a blast no matter who you are. Okay, so I had way more fun with this one than Red, because though it is archaic and still old, I feel like they changed enough that you can still play through this and Gold and Silver entirely without feeling like they are just a boring trudge. I also like the fact that in Crystal it's the first time that you got to pick a female character, because a lot of times I like to play as female characters, especially when like you're given a choice but you can't customize them. I just like looking at females because I like boys and girls, honestly. I am pansexual, but I enjoy looking at females more often than not because I feel like their designs in video games especially seem to be more aesthetically pleasing, like just in general. If you had a cute boy that dressed exactly the same, I'd pick that boy over the girl, you know, if the design was better. But for me, it's like down to the design. I want to be a cute girl, not only because it's a cute girl, but because it has nice outfit and it make me happy to look at. But I like this one a lot more. Johto is my favorite region. It's my favorite. These are my favorite sets of the games. I even like these more than Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I thought that they were really good remakes, but I enjoyed these more. And I feel like though it's higher quality music in Soul Silver and Heart Gold, I enjoy I don't know what it's specifically called, like the bit type of music, like it's lower bit rate or something, I'm not sure, or it's the stuff that they use to make the music is more archaic, how it gets its like old school video game sound. And I feel like something is lost when they expand that and make it sound more like music on real instruments than like tones on a computer. I feel like there's just some charm lost for me personally, and there are certain songs that felt more foreboding and scary that I feel like lost their edge when it got shifted up through the remake. And coincidentally, the remakes do have the ability to play the old music, but it requires you to basically do a bunch of shit and get all the way to the end of the game, to the point that it's like, unless you just want to hear the old music while you're trying to complete the Pokédex, if you're one of the people that likes to complete the Pokédex, I just feel like it's irrelevant, and you should just give people the option to swap it on or off at will. I don't really have anything bad to say about these games. They've got like some like issues that feel grindy sometimes, like the old ones, but I feel like it's not nearly as bad, and I love Pokemon Crystal, Gold, and Silver. Okay, so I played this because I was like, fuck it. I played it on an emulator. Because I was just interested. I remember like picking it up and fucking with it at some point because I knew someone who actually did own the Game Boy Advance version, which this is also a good note to say that on the list, I will play games on multiple different consoles, even if it's the same game, if the game is like different enough. And this, it follows the same type of structure and story structure of Dark Alliance on the consoles, but like it's different enough, and I believe it is only single player. There might be multiplayer if you attach to another Game Boy Advance, I'm not sure, but I don't think there is. When you get to the end of this game, it is like really, really difficult, and like the difficulty spike just like jumps out of nowhere, and I think it's ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun, and I think they did a really good job doing what they did with what they had to make this game seem like it was just the console game on a handheld. And I'm proud of the company that worked on this, because like holy shit. And I feel like it could look a lot worse. Obviously it looked much worse blown up on a fucking TV running through a computer, but it looked nice for what it was. So I know there's a lot of people that are just like Walking Dead is shit, and then there are people that are just like they hate that it's just super popular, or at least it was super popular. Just part of the whole zombie craze, and don't get me wrong, like I'm annoyed by like how much zombie shit has like been in our culture at this point, but I really, sorry, I had to check, my computer didn't freeze. I really like the show. I think that it has a lot of enjoyable moments. There are obviously parts that are written better than other parts. It has its ups and downs. I feel like the first season is like very up and down, but it ends strongly. I feel like every season has something that's like really good, and I feel like the bigger issue is I like some of the more boring, like just slow paced shit in this show, but I can understand that it can put off other people. And I feel like maybe they just need to find a better way to make it. I don't know if it's pacing or just it needs to be written better or what, but just a way that they can keep the audience invested and wanting to watch through the boring parts, or make some of the boring parts a little more interesting, because I feel like there are parts that like the cinematography on this is really like and then there are other parts where it's like that's a really beautiful shot, like whether it be symbolism or whatever. So I didn't play this one for a really long time. I thought it was a multiplayer only thing for a while. I didn't realize that it was like a mini standalone expansion. And I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I like exploring part of the world that I remember from like Halo 2. But being like, you're not Master Chief, you know, you're not this whole like kicking ass and taking names like almost indestructible like dude in crazy armor. You're just an orbital drop shock trooper, and it's like these are just normal people. And I believe you play as like the rookie character. I don't know if you play as the rookie character the whole time, but for a good portion at least you do. So it's like you get to see through their eyes, and I believe when you first get dropped, he like hyperventilates, because it's like he's like oh shit, because like this is his first time and he's getting dropped from orbit from like a little pod to like hit the ground. And when you play Halo 2 and Halo 3, it's like occasionally you have people come in and help you, and you see their little pod slam into the ground and they pop out, and you don't think anything about it because it's like, oh, that's cool, but you know, whatever. But when you're in the pod and you realize what you would actually have to go through if we were doing this in real life, like being dropped out of these tubes, and like we have paratroopers, so they get tossed out, and I got tongue-tied for a minute, I'm sorry. I get really excited and I talk too fast. I know we have paratroopers and shit like that that do get dropped out of planes, and that can be like pretty insane. But like, you're being dropped from orbit in a tiny metal box, and like, what if something goes wrong and you can't get out and you get to suffocate in your little tube, or you hit a mountain, or like millions of other fucking things. But I really enjoyed this game. I really like the shoot play, the gameplay, the gunplay. Gunplay is the word I was looking for. I think it's a really short game. There's a lot of little secrets you can find and stuff that I'd like to go back and explore. But I really like the aesthetic of this game, and I love this cover art, which I feel like shows you what the aesthetic of this game is going to be. And let's move on. I really like Gotham. I have only not watched the final season. I'm just using this because this is the poster that I could find that was in decent enough quality that I didn't hate it. I need to watch the final season. I think there's a lot of weird things that they did with the Batman mythos, but at the same time I feel like there was a lot of cool things they did that I really enjoy. I like that this is its own separate universe. I'm not one of those people that gets upset when stuff gets changed, like the tried and true. I don't mind people trying different things, and I think Gotham is a really cool TV show that I really enjoy watching. And like, if you're not a person that's going to be upset because they changed like something about your favorite comic, then I think that this can be very, very enjoyable. And I think this is a show that people that don't necessarily like superheroes or want to watch superhero shit or read comics can enjoy and would enjoy. And I know a lot of my friends who have at least caught a couple episodes that they liked it. They thought it was really cool, or they were more interested in wanting to watch more. So I didn't look hard for a good image of this, so I'm sorry for the blurry, poopy quality. But I liked this game a lot more than the first one. I had most of my experience was with the first one, but I did really enjoy this game. I played most of it with my friend Jason, and though we did not have the grand adventure we had with the first one, we did have a lot of fun, and I ended up having to finish this one on my own just because he wasn't able to stay over for the whole time that we were playing, and I really like the new classes in this one. I like the unlockables. I like the world a little bit better. I feel like this was just, it was a really good sequel. I feel like they added what they needed to. They took away some annoying things, and I feel like I didn't really think the story from the first one or the second one was that great. But I feel like this one has more interesting shit going on, and like, I feel like there's more, in some areas there's more spooky elements, and I like spooky elements sprinkled into my normal games. I played this a lot, or I played this less than the first one, but I did play it still a lot when I was younger, so I had fond nostalgia memories. And there are parts of this that get boring, and just like the first game, when you get closer to the end, it's kind of like just a trudge. But it's still good time. It's still good time, especially if you have a friend playing with you. So, Voltron. Just some fun facts before, or you know what? I love this show. I just love this show. I love the show so much. I think they did a good job. I like watching it. It's really pretty animation. Good job, DreamWorks. Thank you for like apparently owning the rights to Voltron at this point. I think. I hope that's true. Like, you did a good job. Some fun, quick facts. Other than the fact that I love the show and I thought it was phenomenal. The original Voltron was cut together from a unrelated fucking... I mean, it's related because they cut pieces of it up to make Voltron, but this other Japanese anime called, like, something Lion King or some shit, like Lion Robot King or some shit. I don't remember. But, like, the original Voltron and that anime that it came from are so horrible. And that anime was horrible, like, so horrible in the first place that's why, like, they didn't mind, like, selling the rights or whatever and allowing us to cut it up and do an abomination that was, like, I'm assuming worse or on level with how bad it was. So it was one of those things that I feel like someone had a lot of cool ideas, but they were not great at executing them. Or we didn't have good enough animation at the time, or they just couldn't get good voice actors, or what have you. But it's like there were a lot of cool things there, it just felt like someone who had the money and the power to do something cool with it had not come along yet. And so I was skeptical when I first watched this because I was like, fuck it. It was like Netflix and I was like Voltron and it looks cool. So I played a couple episodes and then I was like, I'm really fucking into this. And here we are. So, I have still never seen The Room, at least not entirely. I've seen pieces and I know it's meme-tastic. And like, legitimately looking at parts of The Room, like, it looks like I can see the cool ideas that Tommy Wiseau had. Like, so I guess, you know, trailing from the Voltron thing, there were some cool ideas. This could have been a cool story, but he did not have the proper, like, setup or the proper directing or, you know, what have you to make it turn into something, like, transcendent and super awesome. Like, I see what he was trying to do, but it did not get there. And I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. Like, I think that it is a really good movie. And from what I know about The Room and Tommy Wiseau and Homeboy that's like his best friend, I feel bad for not remembering his name, but it's like Tommy Wiseau is like transcended to like meme culture, so I feel like that's the only reason I remember his name. I feel like this is, from what I've heard, from the information I have, I feel like they did a really good job, like, portraying how all of that played out. And this movie's sad, and it's funny, and it's weird. But, like, you should totally watch it. You should totally watch it. And, like, I keep seeing things from this A24, like, studio, and, like, all the stuff I see from them, you should totally watch it. But that's about it, guys. That's the end of this video. I feel like I trailed around a bit again, but hopefully not too much. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.